Hello and good to see you. I wanted to talk about my menopause experience actually. My name's Marianne and I am 55 years old as I'm recording this. And I've been living in France for the last 15 years, since 2009. And I went into menopause at age 44, which to me felt early. So that was 11 years ago, which is kind of huge. And I noticed a lot of different changes happening in my body, in my mind, in my emotions as I was going through menopause. And so I wanted to discuss those today with you and also talk about some of the things I put into action in order to feel better and more vibrant in my life. So, physical changes. First of all, obvious, I didn't have my period anymore. I just kind of stopped overnight, not overnight, but from 1 month to the next, there was no period. And I had had some changes up until that point, but nothing really radically different. And then boom, I actually thought I was pregnant, and no, I was not pregnant. I was going into the menopause. So that was number one. Another thing that I was noticing was that I was getting hot flashes, and they would come in waves, and I would get many, many per hour. And it would just like come up and then, go away. So that was not very pleasant. I also noticed that I started getting more and more fatigued and less energized, and I wasn't moving my body. So I was gaining weight more easily. Even eating the same stuff, I was gaining weight more easily. I was losing muscle. And yeah, so that was a whole combination of physical changes. And then mentally, emotionally, I noticed that I was having mood swings. I think in the past, I had gone through a process of learning why I was reactive in the past and how I could better manage my emotions. And I was much more observant as to how I was feeling, and I had good perspective on life. And then when menopause hit, I just started having like sort of just random reactions, and that was kind of alarming. So that was one of the things I noticed. I also noticed that I had lack of clarity, lack of focus, lack of ability to remember things, like I was just doing there. And so there was a couple of things mentally that were going on. Another thing that I was going through was lack of creative inspiration. Like I just was feeling, I had a case of the blahs. Now, this might have been also because I was going through a stressful time at work, but I was just not really vibrantly living my best life, if you know what I mean. I was just kind of getting by. And so that didn't feel too good to me. And I suppose all of that, all of the things that I was going through, was under the umbrella of the grief of saying goodbye to a part of my life as a woman at age 44. It's something that I had never really heard many people speak about. And so I'm interested if you have had similar experiences. What was the change like for you? Were you just happy to not have your period? Or were you kind of sad that a part of your life was over? That was the case for me. Maybe also I've never had kids. And so that was just like the door definitively closing. I could no longer carry kids, and that was that. And so there was a bit of grief there. And so, with all that being said, there were a number of things that I did in order to make my life feel better. And the first thing that I did was I saw my healthcare professionals. So I saw my doctor, I saw my gynecologist, and I saw a homeopathic doctor. I was pretty much wanting to go as natural as possible. I wasn't interested in hormone replacement therapy at that time. I now am interested in that, but each person has their own journey to take when it comes to how they decide to navigate the changes of menopause with their healthcare professional. But I can say that the homeopathic doctor I saw was able to help me with the hot flashes and the mood swings. And that was huge. That was a big part of the pie, all taken care of right from the start. And the other things have been slowly evolving, let's just say. The next thing I started doing was moving my body more. Now, I wanted to find delicious movement. I wanted to do things that made me feel good and find activities that I wanted to do. So the first thing I decided to do was sign up for aquafit classes at a local pool. And so every Saturday morning I'd go down to the pool and I'd get in the water, And the first time I did that, I just thought, wow, this feels so good. This is delicious. And so I thought, I want to spend more time in water. And so I started doing adult swimming lessons because I wanted to learn how to swim laps and learn different strokes. And so I started doing that on Tuesday evenings. And so I was getting myself into a little routine there, you know? And then I started looking for different activities to do at different times of the year. So, you know, in winter when things can feel, depending where you live in the world, of course, but things can feel dark and gray and maybe rainy and not very inspiring. What I love about winter is when you get in the snow and you have that light reflecting up off of the snow into your eyes, and being in nature, going snowshoeing, going cross country skiing. That's what my husband and I like to do. So we started taking time in the winter to go enjoy those things so that there was something to look forward to in winter. Another thing I started doing is mindful walking. Now, I used to go for walks, but I would normally just mull over things in my mind, or I would be listening to a podcast to just kind of distract my mind, or feel like I was reading an audio book as I was getting my steps in. But taking away those distractions and actually getting into the body and into your surroundings through the five senses is hugely rewarding. And I found that to be really, really helpful in just feeling more refreshed in my life. Like I'd come back from my walks. Quite often I'd have some sort of creative inspiration along the way, and it just felt really, really good in my body. And another thing that I started doing was picking up my yoga practice. And that sort of leads us into the next thing that I put into place, which was more mindful activities. So, you know, there's kind of that bridge between the mindful walking being a movement practice, but also a mindful practice. And that mind-body connection is really, really important. And I find that you get the same kind of benefits when you do yoga. And so I started doing more yoga. And that was also very, very helpful. I also started doing meditation, and I started listening to Insight Timer. And then I went back to school and I became a certified sophrologist. Now, in France, sophrology is a mind-body technique that is super popular. It's used a lot in schools and universities, and it uses tools that are very familiar to us: somatic movement, breath work, and guided meditations, and used in a logical kind of process. You can use it to help through a number of different situations. And so I saw a sophrologist for a while when I was having a difficult time at work. And then I decided to go back to school and become a sophrologist. And since then, I've been leading weekly sessions. And I find that not only as a participant, but also as somebody leading a session, I get the benefits of that meditative state, because I kind of get into that meditative state myself as I'm leading meditations. And so I really, really enjoy that practice and the regular time to connect with myself and get into the present moment and feel the calm that comes with it. And in addition to mindful activities, I started paying attention to things that felt fun and learning stuff. And so I started doing like pottery lessons and Italian lessons because I live not too far away from Italy and I might want to go one day. And I started my swimming lessons, of course. And then I also went back to school to become a sophrologist. And I find that learning stuff is stimulating for the brain, which is great for your brain health. And it creates more neural connections and pathways. And that's also helpful in aging. And I feel like that has really helped with my clarity and my focus as well. The last thing that I wanted to talk about in terms of what I put into place was maintaining social connections. Now, a few years ago, we had the pandemic and we were all isolating. And some people stayed isolating. With our current world with cell phones and social media and all the stuff, it's easy to remain isolated, and the importance of social activities in person or online, can be online as well, is really, really important. I find I love combining activities with friends, whether that's going to concerts or going to the film festival or going for a walk or going mushroom foraging. We do all sorts of things with our friends. We, of course, have meals together. And when it's nice weather, we like to sit out and enjoy a drink on the patio. We love all those kinds of activities. And I live in a tiny village. There's only 40 people in my village, 160 if you count all the hamlets. But there are regular social activities. And whether it's playing Scrabble, having meals together, or we even had a storyteller come and give us a story time for adults, it was really, really fun. And I find that those social interactions really, really help to maintain a sense of connectedness, of vitality, of energy, and, a sense of support and encouragement as well, because we can all be there for each other at all times. And so that is wonderful to know that that is there. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. I just wanted to reach out to you, and I would love to know what your menopause experience is, and I would love to know in the comments. So leave me in the comments what you've been going through and what you have found works for you. And if you would like some help with navigating your mood, your energy, if you'd like a little boost, check out the link in the description below, because I have a plan that might be helpful for you. All right, that's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.